Luxury British ocean liner, the largest ship of its time, the RMS Titanic, set off on its maiden voyage from Southampton in England to New York City on April 10th, 1912. There were approximately 2,224 passengers on board, and the ship cost £1.5 million to create, which is equal to £180 million in 2023, which is equal to I don't know what in real money. Nearly 5 days later, sailing at near max speed, the Titanic struck an iceberg, which immediately caused fatal flooding. Insufficient amounts of lifeboats and bad decisions ultimately led to one of the deadliest peacetime sinkings of a single ship. Approximately 1,500 people on board died in the disaster, which quickly became famous the world over. The event itself sparked international outrage and reforms in maritime safety regulations, as well as a hit blockbuster movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio. But that isn't why we're here today. No, today on Red Thread, we're here to ask one simple question. Did the Titanic actually sink? Yes, it did sink. We know for a fact that it did sink. Episode over. Cut to the credits. We've solved that mystery. Of course,
God.
it sunk.
Oh, that was a long 30 seconds.
Welcome, Jordan. Big Titanic fan, I'm sure. Love the movie, I bet.
Yes, I've seen it not once.
Neither. Oh man, this is bad. Neither of us have seen it.
Really?
I haven't seen it. I've never seen it.
You, of all people.
I know. I've never seen Titanic.
I thought you would have done it to perv on DiCaprio for sure.
I should have.
Even though I'm literally same boat, no pun intended. I'm ashamed of you, Jackson. I really expected better from you.
That's how that works. People that don't have a leg to stand on in comparison to my opinions are ashamed of me. Perfect. That's how it usually goes on the internet.
Yes, you should be proud, I guess.
Are we like the only two people in the world who haven't seen the Titanic?
I've got to say yes. I'm sure
strange.
that even Zoomers have seen it. It's sort of the Citizen Kane of the 90s, right?
Kira's not even a big movie watching person, especially nowadays. I'm more of a movie watcher than Kira, but she's definitely seen the Titanic. Is it just wrong audience? Like we're not the target audience, but everyone's seen the Titanic. It's like one of the best-selling movies of all time.
Yes, I mean, obviously it skews to be a chick flick, but I still think that there is pretty poor form on our end not to have seen this particular one.
Well, especially
it's like seeing the other classic of our time,
episode.
White Chicks. What?
For my research for this episode, I watched White Chicks again. That's exclusively it. No, it is pretty bad form that we have a Titanic script here for Red Thread, and neither of us did our due diligence and watched the factually correct historical film Titanic, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. And who's the chick? Who's Rose?
That's a really good question.
Fuck.
Surely she had some sort of career after that. Sure.
No, she's a massive actress. I know for sure she's a massive actress. Who the fuck is she though? I don't remember.
I just had to type in Titanic woman. There is a lot of fat chicks that come up. Kate Winslet, of course.
Yeah, Kate Winslet. Yeah. She's Aussie, isn't she?
The woman that looks like a grown-up version of the kid from the Wild Thornberrys, don't you reckon?
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, so that's right. What if the Titanic didn't actually sink, but rather the ship that sank was a different ship entirely? Author and English Titanic conspiracy theorist Robin Gardner helped propel this theory in the book Titanic, The Ship That Never Sank, which was released in 1998. The main thrust of the theory links the disaster to the Titanic's sister ship, Olympic, which supposedly sank in the Titanic's place. I would prefer to go on a ship called the Olympic. That sounds way fancier.
Yeah. Titanic actually... Look, maybe it's because of all the bad press that came after the Titanic sinking. Maybe if we lived in an alternate universe where it didn't sink, we'd think, Titan is a very powerful mythical creature, but
It sounds
It's too late
destructive.
now.
It sounds like a
bad.
destructive. Yeah, it sounds like a negative word. And again, like you just said, I don't know if that's because we already, connect it to the event, or if it would have always felt that way. Maybe back then it would have felt like really big and grand and, over the top, just extravagant. But to me, it seems like I'm gonna die if I go on that ship.
Yeah. And for exactly the same reasons, you think, whoa, Olympic sounds athletic.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so obviously you much prefer to go on the Olympic than the Titanic.
The Olympic itself ultimately didn't have the best luck either, as it several months before the disaster on the 29th of September of 1911 collided with a British cruiser named the HMS Ork. They were, that was Hawk, not Ork.
Okay, all right.
The HMS Ork.
Now that's the ship I want to go.
From fucking
Sounds
Mordor.
sexy.
Straight from Mordor. They were running side by side through the Solent, a strait between the Isle of Wight and Great Britain. An unfortunate turn that surprised the Hawk's commander resulted in two large holes in the Olympic's hull, both below and above the waterline. The ship was able to travel to Southampton, while the Hawk itself nearly capsized, but was ultimately okay, and no one was badly hurt. The basis of this theory that the Titanic was actually the Olympic and the sinking of the ship was an insurance scam by the owners of the ships. The Olympic was pretty badly damaged after the events in earlier in September, and the thought was that in the end, it would be more profitable to get a payout instead of trying to repair and keep her operational. So yeah, the idea basically behind the theory is that the first ship that was made, which was the Olympic, crashed 1 year before the Titanic's maiden voyage, and instead of repairing it or whatever, they decided to just send the Olympic off in the Titanic's place to sink it for the insurance money, basically.
Oh, damn. Okay, this is actually much cleverer than I thought. I thought the whole conspiracy theory was, have you seen it? No, then you can't disprove it. I thought that would be the whole episode.
Have you traveled to the bottom of the iceberg to see the remnants? It's all photoshopped, actually, bro.
And neither did those billionaires.
Ships don't actually sink. When I put my little rubber ship in my bathtub, it never goes under. Checkmate.
Yeah. I put a rubber ducky in to, be a stand-in for a giant iceberg. It hit it. It's still fine.
Checkmate. Facts and logic. The official inquiry deemed that the Olympic was at fault for the accident in September, which was an enormous financial problem for the owners who had to pay for the repairs and legal fees. So if the theory is true, the ships' names were swapped and the damaged Olympic set off on its maiden voyage, actually, in April 1912 in the place of the Titanic.
This is a really clever conspiracy. I'm into it.
Oh, you actually like it? You actually like this conspiracy?
I don't mind this one. I'm sorry. I'm just a bit damaged from the last week. I do recommend that you go in and look at last week's episode of Red Thread as always. But Jackson just at the end tacked on 7 conspiracy theories towards the end that just kept getting dumber and dumber. I was just like, dude, we've done it. We've looked at literally every conspiracy theory on the internet. We're at the dregs.
I always do love how no matter what no matter what the event is, there will always be those mainstay conspiracy theories that just get tacked on, like the Illuminati, or like Russia had something to do with it, or China had something to do with it, or Israel had something to do with it. No matter what the evidentiary basis is of the event itself, they just chuck it in there just because. Well, the Illuminati's involved in everything, guys. So it has to be involved in this situation. You always see them.
Yes.
And there's never, of course, never any kind of evidence that they back themselves up with. Even made up evidence. There's never any made up evidence. It's just, the Illuminati's involved for sure. It's classic.
No job too big, no job too small. It's always them. It all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So posts on social media within the past few years have revived this theory. So let's go over some of the evidence supporting and some of the evidence debunking the theory. First of all, we have Gardner's evidence himself, and Gardner was the writer of the book, and himself in his book had several main points that supported his theory. First, he defined the motive that we just already spoke of. He also noted that the Olympics sea trials that took place in 1910 took 2 days, including high-speed runs, whereas the Titanic's trials were shorter with no full-speed tests undertaken. He argued that the ship tested in 1912 was a patched-up Olympic that supposedly couldn't safely run at speed and therefore didn't do the full-speed tests. He also claimed that the ship did not strike an iceberg at all, but an unlit IMM vessel, which was owned by the same parent company as the company that owned the Titanic and Olympic. So IMM, I don't remember what it stands for. It's like International Marine something. It's a company basically that owns all of these ships, basically, including
Right.
White Star. I think it was White Star. I think the company was White Star, something like that. Who owns the Titanic and the Olympic? So it's like the parent company basically that owns that owns the company that owns the Titanic and Olympic. Anyway, so
Man, points for originality. This actually sounds plausible, don't you think?
I think it sounds plausible for sure. In terms of just if we remove all kind of logic of how much of a difficult task this would have been, a difficult conspiracy to do without anyone learning about it, and also all of the people that also died that weren't connected to the conspiracy, just to just to what, save a few $100 million on lawsuits, which this would have generated lawsuits anyway.
So it's dumb as the rest of them. Sorry,
No,
continue
I don't think it's as dumb as the rest of them. I genuinely don't. Like, there are some really
There's
dumb
some
theories.
glaring holes in it, as you pointed.
No, there are for
Yeah,
sure
but
some
yes.
holes in it. Like logically, like why would this be the choice that they choose when recovering the money that they lost on the Olympic? But also, people make stupid decisions anyway, so it probably could have been someone made the decision to do this in this extravagant manner, and they thought it was a good idea when in actuality it wasn't. Like, it's not completely insane, I think,
Okay.
as a theory.
Right.
As a theory.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
But anyway, it hit the unlit IMM vessel that was allegedly stationed nearby as part of the insurance plot, and he reinterpreted the controversial behavior of the Californian, which was another vessel in the area, which had largely ignored the flares from the sinking Titanic, as that of a ship expecting a controlled operation rather than a genuine disaster. Sorry. So basically, there was a ship nearby, the Californian, who saw the flares from the Titanic go up, but the captain of the ship instead chose to ignore the distress flares and continue on. And that genuinely did happen. That's
Right.
corroborated. That's true. But so the author of the book, Gardner, has kind of reinterpreted that behavior as a sign that people in the area knew that this was going to go down, this conspiracy was going to go down, and they weren't to interfere in it or, make any rescues or anything like that. Although I'm not sure why they wouldn't be allowed to make any rescues, considering
Man,
the goal was
unlike
to
the
sink the ship.
Titanic, he's plugged a lot of holes. You can interpret it as that.
You certainly
I
can.
mean, again, it's a lot of coordination, but still.
A lot of people that
Ooh.
had to take the secret to the grave too, when you've got entire vessels crewed and manned of people who are now complicit. You don't think any of the people on the ship underneath the Californian's captain are like, hey, why aren't we going to rescue those people? You see the flare, right, Captain? And he's like, yes, the money's coming in, boys.
It is cooler than going to your grave
in the
saying, no, I
Bahamas.
was just really incompetent and stupid.
Yeah. Number 2, portholes. So this is the porthole element of this theory. Gardner and many others point to the portholes on the two ships as a big contributing factor that supports the theory. The Olympic itself had 16 portholes, while the Titanic had only 14. Photos that were taken of the Titanic when it was docked showed that the ship had 14 portholes, but when it departed on its maiden voyage, it had 16 portholes as shown in the photographs, which is, of course, the same number as the Olympic.
Wow. I expected as much anyway, but there you go.
I mean, that's what that one didn't impress you. That's pretty weird, isn't it?
Look, I will give you the most enthusiastic response I can muster to that. I guess so.
Come on, it's got the same amount of portholes. It grew another 2 portholes. How's that possible? You're crazy. That's the most convincing argument yet.
Grow does bring it up to.
There's no other.
Yeah, okay. You
There's
get
no
3
other
words
way
out
that
of
those 2 extra portholes could have shown up. There's no other way. It had to have been the Olympic.
Now, before we think about that any further, let's move on to the next point.
Number 3. The leaning. After its collision with the Hawk, the Olympic was left with a permanent 2-degree lift to port, which is maritime terminology for the type of lean. If you didn't know, amateurs that don't have your own sailing vessels out there, come on. Try to keep up. The Titanic, who had been in no such collision, didn't have the same permanent tilt, though, or as we just learned, lift to port. However, a survivor of the Titanic, a man named Lawrence Beasley, that is the most early 1910s rich person name ever, Lawrence Beasley.
Lawrence is a very old rich person name, isn't it?
Beasley as well, Beasley.
It's such a girl's name too now, don't you think?
Lawrence?
Makes you sound very... No, okay, I'm not going to call my daughter Lawrence, so
yeah,
no.
What?
But actually, maybe I will, Nick, just to prove you wrong, Jackson.
You're not proving me wrong. I'm just confused. I didn't say you couldn't do it.
I may or may not have showed you.
In fact, I would heavily implore you to do that. That sounds incredible. Please do go on. Prove me wrong.
No, but it just sounds like a very precious name, doesn't it? It sounds like somebody that's got soft hands, as it were.
Lawrence? Are we talking about Lawrence?
Lawrence. Yeah, Lawrence doesn't sound badass at all. It doesn't sound rugged.
No, not like Jordan and
You think
Jackson.
it does?
No, I agree with you. Lawrence.
Jackson sounds like a pretty hard name.
I mean, I'm pretty hard.
You don't think somebody called Jackson could whip your ass?
What about Jack? I feel like Jack is more the Alpha Chad version of it still, like regardless. Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson does.
It sounds a lot. It sounds like the Lawrence of the Jack universe, really, when I think about it some more.
It does, okay. Oh, what about this? Jackie.
I was going to say, does Jordan have any like shortened version of it? Like, you know how I've got Jack? And then I realized your literal YouTube channel is called Friendly Geordies. So I was going to stop myself from
very
asking the
hard
question.
name.
Yeah.
All right, so obviously it's much more gangster than Lawrence, much more gangster than Jackson, but Jack is a little bit higher than Friendly Geordies in terms of hardness.
I think Jack is the hardest so far. Jack is so
Jack's
hard.
easily the hardest. Jack sounds like a mercenary's name.
Yeah. It sounds like a guy with an eye patch, big muscles, and suspended pants.
A beret, perhaps?
Yeah, and a cigarette.
Not a French beret, a French Foreign Legion beret.
Ooh, yeah.
And a cigarette? Yeah, Jack smokes.
And a like a wooden peg leg. Maybe a parrot on his shoulder.
Probably about 300 to 400 Jacks currently listening now. I would like any of you to write in if we have absolutely pegged you with your peg leg.
We've just created a pirate in our minds. Are there any pirates listening to this episode that are named Jack? Any pirates out there really keen on learning about what happened to the Titanic so that they can avoid their own maritime disasters?
Well, it can't all be hoisting other ships, can it? There's got to be a lot of downtime in between. It's probably just like truck drivers. I bet you they do listen to a lot of podcasts.
Isn't it weird to think that there's pirates out there right now sailing the seven seas who probably have their own little iPod nanos or whatever listening to podcasts?
They'd have to. I'm telling you now. What? You're going to be listening to the sounds of the chopping ocean.
All right.
They're only doing that because it was the 1700s. They had iPads. Yeah.
I'm putting a call to action out there. If there are any pirates listening to Red Thread at all or any of our content, please let us know. I really want to know if there's any pirates listening somehow. But also, if you know a pirate, send them this episode, send them our show, send your pirate friends our content so that we can build up a pirate audience. I think that would be pretty beneficial in the future, perhaps.
I think it would be too. I don't think that they'd be so interested in our podcast because it's got very little, if anything, to do with parrots. But I think that, look,
this was our first step into breaching into that audience. We're literally talking about ships at the moment. And we've talked about ships in the past too. There was a whole episode where we talked about a ship. I don't remember what
that was possibly accosted by pirates. Yeah, no, now that I think about it, they could absolutely do worse. I don't think there'd be many pirates listening to the Call Her Daddy podcast.
Yeah. Come to Red Thread where we welcome piracy and pirates and things like that.
Yeah, we rightfully deem it what it is. Cool.
It is admittedly, unfortunately, pretty fucking cool. but not the piracy where you download video games. By the way,
Unfortunately cool.
no, I don't want the audience where it's like they think piracy is just downloading
cool,
video.
but
No, it's not nearly as cool as having a peg leg and a parrot and sailing the seven seas with a little cutlass. That's like such a massive difference. Some like nerd pirating a video game, playing it in his bedroom at 3 a.m. compared to a literal fucking bearded guy with a an eye patch and a parrot. That's so different.
Yeah, no, it's really not in the same league.
Why did they get the same? It's like stolen valor bullshit right there. Like we should call internet piracy something completely different.
Yeah, shouldn't we just call it what it is, which is copying files? Just copycats. That's what they are. They're copycats. They are not pirates.
We should call them copycats. That's actually that's a great term. Copycats.
Isn't it? And why is pirate acceptable? That shouldn't be acceptable at all.
When did that ever happen?
They are not pirates.
They're not pirates. There's no sailing, no cannon fire.
That we're aware of. Yeah. No, cannon file, certainly not.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know how they originally get the files. They could be moving those files on ships and stealing them on the ocean somehow. Video games from the ocean.
How do they even defend that? Oh, once I did a batch of the fucking movie Master and Commander. There's nothing to do with piracy. Nothing.
Yeah, what does it even mean? Piracy. I mean, is it just hand in hand with larceny? Like, does it literally just mean theft, like thievery?
I suppose so. I guess that really is what a pirate. All right, now that I've thought about it a lot, it's just stealing a ship requires a lot more manly activities than copying files and transferring them.
Yeah,
I think it's probably that. It's just you're stealing.
Well, I guess what we've learned today is that there are different elements of coolness when it comes to stealing things, and I found the bottom and I found the top. The top is still ocean piracy, which is still the coolest form.
The coolest form of stealing.
It's the only acceptable form. However, a survivor of the Titanic.
Theft tier list. Yeah. Go on.
However, a survivor of the Titanic.
It is. Piracy is F tier. But yeah, sorry, go on.
No, internet piracy is F tier. Piracy is S tier. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, just so we're on the same page. I don't know what other forms of thievery there are, like stealing from, I don't know, a Woolworths or a grocery store. I guess I'd put that at like a C.
I'd still say that's harder than, Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely harder than
D. It has to be a D.
What about Grand Theft Auto?
Oh, Grand Theft Auto is pretty much up there with piracy. That's
I'd say
a very cool crime.
Yeah,
jacking people while they're driving.
That's like the second original form of piracy, in my opinion. Like, you have the titular ones, right? Like, you obviously have the ocean piracy, but then I think once you get on land, like the coolest form of piracy you can do is stealing cars or planes, I think. So I think those would be like A tier.
That is pretty fucking A tier, stealing a plane. That might actually go up higher than what?
No, I've S tier is bank heists. It's got to be bank heists.
Okay, now I've got to think about this. That could be.
We're actually ranking them. This is difficult.
This is hard.
It's hard.
Are you having any problems with this? I don't know what's cooler, piracy or bank heist.
I know for sure crypto rug pulls are down in F tier. I think we can say that pretty safely. That's another lame version of piracy. And pretty much anything to do with computers and stuff.
A bit of balls.
No, anything to do with computers is like F tier. It's fucking lame.
What about major hacking, though? What about if you're doing the equivalent of a bank heist, but online?
Oh, like back when I think it was Sony Pictures, like all of their stuff got hacked. Yeah, okay. I still wouldn't put it as high as like C. I still think it's lame.
Okay.
I still think it's lame. I still think it's definitely cooler than like pirating video games and stuff.
Theft.
Yeah, but it's still on the computer. If they actually go into the facility and it's like some subterfuge shit where they're crawling through vents and stuff with little like digital scanners or something, some kind of tools, and maybe they've got like a little taser or something so that there's some kind of, there's some kind of genuine danger there, then it can go higher than C. But if it's just like they're in a basement in Russia or something and they're some nerdy 40-year-old dude who's trained in code his entire life is just executing some batch commands or something, then no, C or below.
What about if he's wearing a patch while doing it?
F. Somehow that makes
Oh,
it
it goes
lamer.
lower.
Somehow
it does make it lamer. You're right.
If he's cosplaying
because
as a
the way
pirate,
that he lost his eye was accidentally stabbing himself with a pin.
With a Nintendo DS stylus, yeah.
Yeah, okay. He was playing the tennis one, and he pokes himself in the eye. That is so much worse. Yeah. Okay, you're right.
All right,
I agree with you, Jackson.
There we go. Let us know what you think the thievery/piracy tier list is. Let us know what the coolest.
We get it right. I think we did.
Form. I think that we were pretty accurate, honestly, in terms of coolness. Yeah.
Honest, fair, this noble
unbiased,
profession.
As non-thieves. However, a survivor of the Titanic, Lawrence Beasley. Oh yeah, that's how this started. Lawrence Beasley later said that the Titanic did in fact have a tilt, stating, quote, "The Titanic listed to port. It was plain she did so, for the skyline and sea on the port side were visible most of the time, and on the starboard only sky." Lawrence Beasley was considered a reliable and truthful person. He was a science teacher who didn't appear to be deceiving, and he had very little to gain from lying about the events. So basically, due to the collision, the Olympic ended up in its injuries. What do you call its mechanical defects from the crash? It was listing from that point on. It had a permanent list or lien. And then, so basically, someone on the eventual Titanic voyage claims that the ship that they sailed on, the Titanic, had this very same list or lien or tilt.
God damn.
Without it ever having been in a crash, because remember, this was meant to be the Titanic's, first voyage. Basically, its maiden voyage, other than sea trials.
This is almost as cool as Pirates. Okay.
So yeah, I mean that's pretty interesting, right?
It's pretty damn interesting. Look, at the very least, there's a lot of uncanny coincidences in this. And the one that you were impressed by sucks, Jackson, purely because you were impressed by it. Nah, it sucks.
I can't even argue against that. That's so true, dude.
It's flawless logic.
I'm so lame. Number 4, the M and P on the wreckage. I can't even argue with it. We just spent 15 minutes tier listing piracy. Yeah, pretty fucking lame.
All these crimes that we don't have the balls to do any of them.
Yeah, I'm sitting there.
I've pirated before. I'm pretty hard.
I'm still fucking sitting there hyped about portholes. Two additional portholes on a ship.
Yeah.
Number 4, the M and the P on the wreckage. The wreckage of the Titanic was discovered in 1985, 72 years after it sank. It was located 12,500 feet deep in the ocean and around 600 kilometers southeast off of Newfoundland. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's pronounced weirdly. It looks like it should be pronounced Newfoundland, but I remember pronouncing it that way in a previous episode, and I got like massive
and everyone losing their shit
from people there. It's like pronounced Newfoundland or something.
Oh, come on. No one actually lives there. They're making it.
It's why would you choose to live somewhere where that is the pronunciation of the place?
It's hard to pronounce it. Entire life just gets a little bit more difficult, and obviously living there must be difficult as well.
No, I get it.
Your ancestors really screwed up.
I get it. You get to be smug online about people who pronounce it Newfoundland. That's got to be such a good feeling, going onto a video where someone pronounces it that way, and then you get to write a comment saying, no, well, actually, it's pronounced Newfoundland.
You think it's a smugness thing? Look, I'm looking at pictures of it. It does look very beautiful, and I can't believe that anybody listens to this from there, because it looks like you don't have electricity. But I will say this. I don't think it's a smug thing. I think it's a lot like when Americans come here and say Melbourne. And isn't there something that irks you? And you go, it's Melbourne, not Melbourne.
Yeah.
Even though we don't live there and hate it.
Brisbane.
I hate Melbourne.
Brisbane is another one.
They do not say Brisbane, do they?
Yeah, well, that's how it's spelled. I can't even fault them for it.
I can.
Brisbane.
And that's why I don't have any empathy for people getting pissed off at us for mispronouncing Newfoundland. Oh, triggered.
Newfoundland. It doesn't make sense. Why do you pronounce it that way?
Change your name if you wanted to be Newfoundland.
Newfoundland. I wish words were
People make
spelled the
me
way that they're
sick.
meant to be pronunciated. It's so annoying. I hate English. I hate it. A joint French-American expedition led by oceanographer and engineer Jean-Louis Michel. Jean-Louis
Yeah, it sounds about
Michel.
right.
An oceanographer and Navy officer, Robert Ballard, were the ones to discover the wreck, which ultimately raised many questions. The ID number used for the Titanic, which was 401, could be plainly seen on the propeller of the Titanic wreckage, but many think it was swapped and fitted onto the Olympic after its crash, with the Olympic's ID being 400. So basically, the propeller that was found in the wreckage had the Titanic's ID on it, which is what you would expect. But don't worry, the conspiracy theorists have rationalized it that they swapped the propellers around before the crash. So it makes sense, okay? They could have done that.
Again, it does. They could have. This is what's so refreshing after a half a year of conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory was like, what do you have for this very glaring hole? And there is nothing to plug it. Absolutely nothing. There is tangible explanations for this.
I mean, yes.
That's cool.
Some think that you can also see the letters M and P on the side of the ship in the blurry photos, pointed to as visual evidence that it actually read the Olympic on the side of the vessel. But I feel like if that were the case, then people who had, survived the events would have also seen the giant Olympic lettering on the side of the ship and been able to talk about that as opposed to the Titanic. And also, like, if they were conspiring to set this up as, to get their money back in the sinking, like it was an actual conspiracy, and they had also swapped over the propellers and undertaken all that work to make it look genuine, why wouldn't they have just printed over the Olympic with the words Titanic? Why would they leave the word Olympic on the ship?
Okay. You know what that was? That was very much like when someone pointed out to me in Lord of the Rings that the entire book is redundant, because if they had those massive eagles that could fly anywhere, why wouldn't you just give the ring to the eagle so they could drop it? Like, I don't think their aerial defense systems would have been that good in the Middle Ages.
They had AA guns. No, what would happen if you put the ring on the eagle? Then it would go crazy with power as well, like Frodo did. And I'd trust Frodo more.
Yeah, but I think that's even solved as well, because you are not putting it on their finger. You are just putting it in like a little box for it to carry, and then it moves on. And that stops you from going insane as well.
The eagle stops for the night, and he's, the ring's like talking to him through the box or whatever, and he doesn't have the power or strength because he's an eagle to, not put it on his little talon fingers, and then he puts it on, and now there's an invisible eagle flying around the sky.
Jackson, we're assuming that more.
What is this episode?
Dude, it's why we're raising all the important questions, I'm telling you. These are all things that have been rummaging around in my mind for a long time. I'm very happy that we're finally getting to it.
Eagle's flying around in the sky, invisible, by the way, and he's also corrupted by the Ring of Power, so now he's on the, Mordor's side. So now they've got an invisible flying eagle flying around, capable of mass destruction. How are you going to take down that?
I don't know, but can you imagine if that was the plot of Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, that would have been pretty fucking hype. Can you imagine if it was the plot of the Titanic?
A classic. What?
Can you imagine if it was the plot of the Titanic? The movie Titanic.
Yeah, okay. And it's called Here's How I Think Lord of the Rings Should Have Gone Down, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and whoever the fuck the ginger woman was.
Yeah. Who we've already figured out earlier in the episode and immediately forgotten. Awesome. Yeah, all right, but that's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool that they can see the MP. I can't see it on the pictures. I've looked. I really can't see where the MP is meant to be, but people can see it apparently. So, hey,
there you go.
I've got 20/20 eyesight, by the way, so I don't know if it's pretty. My opinion's credible. I can't see it.
I think I'm on board with you.
You can't see it either?
No.
In fact, I can't see any
Whatever.
letters.
They claim they can, so
yeah, it's good enough for me.
Obviously, right.
It's good enough for me. All right, number 5. The timeline makes sense as well. The repairs on the Olympic that occurred after its crash so we're talking about the Olympic, the repairs that occurred after its crash overlapped with the finishing of building the Titanic, which means that they had to slightly delay finishing the Titanic after the Olympics crash in 1911, with the Titanic's maiden voyage intended to take place originally in March 1912, but the voyage was pushed a month back. Theorists suggest that this would have allowed time to swap over the ship secretly, including moving the propellers around and all of that stuff. But unfortunately, due to the timeline, they didn't have time to paint over the word Olympic, unfortunately. So that one slipped by them. Now for the evidence against this particular theory.
We are already on the topic of the name of the wreckage. It is difficult to find any evidence that clearly shows an M&P. Okay, all right. All right, we're half a sentence in and I'm already convinced. They stated there, but there are videos and photos that do clearly show the name Titanic on the side of the wreckage. Jesus! We really have to keep going.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to hear you sad.
The ID number 401 was found across the ship as opposed to just the propeller. Ultimately, the photographs of the wreckage have ultimately been the biggest source of proof against the theory, as it simply all matches the structure of the Titanic and not the Olympic. Yeah, okay, well, describing it as the biggest source of proof really seems to be an understatement in this particular circumstance. So you think that's just
okay? But using my own logic from before, with the timelines making sense in terms of when the Olympic went into repair, I'm going to salvage this. All right. So the Olympic going in for repair, they could have still swapped it over and done what I said, which is paint over everything and put the words Titanic on there. There you go.
Good. We will move on to number 2 then. You've saved that one.
I have.
I'm absolutely convinced of that. 2, ship difference. There's also some big differences between the two ships, one of the biggest being the Titanic's partly enclosed promenade on A deck. The Olympic also had a B deck promenade, but this was used on the Titanic as a first-class cabin extension, meaning the windows were irregularly spaced compared to the evenly spaced windows on the Olympic. The B deck on the Titanic had private suites and verandas, something that the Olympic didn't have.
Yeah, and there's two
pictures here. I can't really tell from these photos.
No, you can. This is like a difference photo. It's pretty fucking clear. Yeah. This isn't like Where's Waldo or anything. There's a giant fucking window like across the very top of it or something.
God, man. Yeah,
like
I do really suck at spot the differences. Yeah. There's arrows pointing at it.
Yeah, there's an enormous amount of differences there between the two ships. Enormous.
Yeah, well, explain that one then, smartass.
I can't.
Well, I had a much better explanation for that. I can't see the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Moving on. The bridge wing caps also showed a difference between the two ships, with the Olympic's bridge even and parallel with the side of the ship, while the Titanic's bridge extended over slightly, which enabled a better view while sailing. These differences were noticed in the wreckage and also by people aboard that survived.
Well, it also didn't really help.
Yeah, but I don't trust people that were aboard and survived.
Maybe
panicking.
Maybe that's why that's further proof of the fact that they were instead sailing the Olympic and not the Titanic when it impacted the iceberg. Because as we just read, the Titanic has a better bridge where you can see more. If they had that bridge on the ship that they were sailing, they would have seen the fucking iceberg.
Okay. All right. Good. That requires a lot of bridges in my mind. I will take them.
I'm doing my best to help you out here. I'm doing my absolute best.
And you're helping. You really are.
I'm glad.
It's just, I'm starting to feel like I have leukemia and your Panadol.
Yeah,
it helps. It definitely helps.
What an apt fucking description. I don't know if I can help you with the next one. I'm afraid this one's pretty airtight.
Okay. Now we're getting into the terminal stage. Perhaps most convincing after the tragedy of the Titanic, the Olympic returned to Southampton and underwent significant changes, which included it being fitted with more lifeboats. That's not that big. The ship was inspected by the British Board of Trade and the captain, Maurice Clarke, who also ran multiple mock lifeboat drills to ensure that there had been an improvement in an effort to ensure that what had happened to the Titanic would not happen ever again. After some issues retraining crew members and being requested to install more modifications, the ship eventually returned to the waters. even being used during the World War in 1914 to 1918. After the war concluded, it continued on with various voyages across the globe. Ultimately, in 1933, it was involved in another crash with a light vessel that itself ended up completely destroyed. The legal fees from the final crash totaled around $500,000. Wow, it's incredible. I really feel like such a big shot in the modern age, looking at how piddly everything was back then. Like, it feels like I could just get out a personal finance loan and build the Titanic.
Well,
Makes me feel like a big man.
I fucking hate that you put me in these positions where I have to ruin your day. When I have to fucking say that $500,000 then USD is not the same as $500,000 now USD.
I know that. I'm just saying that it still makes me feel like a big man.
Well, I'm glad
regardless.
That living a life of lies makes you feel like a big, strong man.
It's the only way to do it. Either that or go to the gym, and I'm not doing that. 2 years later, the Olympic was finally retired from service.
So, yeah, I mean,
JP Morgan. Oh, sorry. You had things to say?
I did have things to say. I was going to say that that's a pretty hard point to argue against, considering that the Olympic continued to sail after the Titanic sunk and was seen for 15 years through various voyages after the sinking of the Titanic. So it's pretty hard to argue that the Olympic was the one that sunk when it continued after that point, sailing across the globe.
Yeah, that doesn't. There's a lot of things that do not help this theory.
And the Titanic was never seen again somehow. I wonder why. I wonder why.
Crap.
We come to conspiracy number 2, that JP Morgan planned it all. JP Morgan was the owner of White Star Line, which was the British shipping line that owned the Titanic. There is a theory that he himself planned the sinking of the Titanic either to kill his wealthy opponents or for the monetary benefit. I don't know what monetary benefit you receive from sinking one of your most expensive assets, but let's continue. Morgan owned and controlled the International Mercantile Marine Group, which included the White Star Line and other ship lines. So that was the IMM company that I was talking about before. It's believed that he had the ability, power, and access to conduct such a dastardly scheme. 3 men were invited on board the Titanic for its maiden voyage. These 3 men were John Astor, Isidor Strauss, and Benjamin Guggenheim. These men were exceedingly rich, as you could tell by their names, and they were some of the wealthiest people in the world, and they opposed Morgan's idea of creating a centralized banking system, which would go on to be known as the U.S. Federal Reserve. Which would actually go on.
It's always not too far away, is it?
Which would also go on to be created just the year after the sinking of the Titanic. Morgan was meant to be on the Titanic's maiden voyage. So JP Morgan, the man who owns everything, was meant to be on the Titanic's maiden voyage, but he was apparently ill and chose not to board just days before. This strange timing of Morgan being ill and not ultimately going on the fated voyage while his rivals did is very interesting. However, Morgan was genuinely very ill, and he actually did die not long after the Titanic sank in 1913 at the age of 75. So, I mean...
well, that's that.
Yeah, that is that. There were a few other strange instances of people cancelling their tickets and not boarding, like Milton S. Hershey, the founder of the famous American chocolate firm, and Alfred Gwynne Vanderbilt, who himself was a multimillionaire sportsman who later died in the sinking of the RMS Lusitania during the First World War. Why so many fucking people died in boat accidents at this time?
Isn't it weird? It's so strange. I mean, somebody dying in a boat accident now makes international news.
Yeah, it would be a bit of a rarity if one of these.
Titanic did as well, as did the Louisiana. So fair dues.
Yeah. But it seems like even extremely wealthy people were just actively dying in boat crashes. I mean, I don't know what money would have saved you, actually. It's probably like the great equalizer is being in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on a boat.
I suppose you could buy one of the few lifeboats that are there.
Yeah, some poor person sitting in the lifeboat and you pay him to take his lifeboat seat and then he just dies anyway. So
And then
what's
he
the fucking
dies.
point?
Yes, but he died a rich man.
He died with $50 extra and a Hershey bar.
Which, as you claim, is a lot back then. I remain skeptical.
I mean, I don't know how much it would be now. It's probably like $3.6 billion. I don't know how inflation works. Since Morgan was in control of the shipping line, people believed that he had complete control over the design of the ship. Designs, now heavily scrutinized, like not having enough lifeboats, apparently a watertight transverse bulkhead that stopped 10 feet above the waterline, the use of brittle steel, and the internal environment for a boiler fire to occur. These were all heavily criticized after the events of the Titanic for good reason. There were 16 main compartments separated by bulkheads, which were watertight walls. Once the water began to flood through, it began to weigh the ship down due to just the weight of water being stuck in this, location with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
If the flooding was able to flow freely instead, as if like these watertight walls weren't there, then theoretically, I mean, I don't even know if it's theoretically, it could just be proven science at this point, but regardless, it's speculated that the sinking would have taken much longer and allowed more time for passengers to be rescued if these walls weren't in the way of the water, basically. The material used was turning brittle in the below freezing temperatures of the ocean, like the rivets holding the side of the ship together, and when the vessel hit the iceberg, they were so weak from the cold weather that they snapped clean off in many places. And then there's the boiler room where engineers worked right to the end to try and keep the lights on in the ship. Some think that the area around the boiler room was weak from a blazing coal fire, which was the spot where the iceberg hit. The Titanic only had one hull, which was not unusual for ships at that time, and the coal needed to power the ship was stored right next to it, which is probably not the best decision to store highly flammable material right next to the very thing keeping the water out of your ship.
Probably not.
There are some images believed to show the damage to the exterior of the ship, and overall, some people point to these enormous design deficiencies as not a sign of taking shortcuts or a lacking in mechanical knowledge, but instead as a sign that JP Morgan had made these choices on purpose to ensure that the ship would sink with his rivals aboard.
Ooh, that is dastardly.
Yeah,
I thought that this would be an overuse of the word, purely to match the time. It seems to be a lot more frequently used than now. But damn, that fits the definition and definitely happened.
If you made every wrong decision when building a ship just to kill 3 people.
Just to kill many other people just to get them off the scent, I guess.
Just to kill 3 people out of 2,500.
Deliberately making a shit ship. And a really expensive shit ship too.
Yeah, surely it would have been cheaper to just hire an assassin on the ship with like 3 bullets.
Oh. See, it's another Lord of the Rings plot hole.
Yeah, hire the
Eagles.
So
easy to do.
I know. It's so easy to poke holes through things.
But, hindsight's 2020. There's a lot of things that should have happened on the Titanic.
And in Lord of the Rings.
And that's it, though. Just those 2 things.
Just those 2 things.
Everything else that has ever happened was perfect.
In Lord of the Rings, the reason that they give for those kinds of things is just like plot contrivance, basically. Maybe it's the same thing here. Maybe JP Morgan was just trying to tell a really good story.
Okay, yeah.
It needed to happen for the plot, basically.
Well, I mean, that's when we're talking about this theory, that is absolutely true. It does need to happen for the plot.
Who would JP Morgan be in this situation? Smeagol?
Why is he Smeagol?
He just gives Smeagol vibes. It's like a very conniving thing. Yeah, exactly.
Conniving creature.
Yeah, like, look, I don't know. Is Sauron, he plots, but not in this kind of, he's more straightforward, right?
Yeah, trickery, I suppose, is one of his templates. He seemed to have tricked Saruman into it.
True, yeah. Never mind. Yeah, I guess.
Because he's so wealthy. I can't believe this. Okay, so you're saying that the main character in this is Smeagol?
No, I would actually go Sauron now. He's got too much wealth, too much power, too much influence.
Well, if he's got heaps of wealth, wasn't Bilbo a rich cunt?
Bilbo wasn't killing
Is he
people,
Bilbo?
was he? He wasn't Bilbo. Bilbo wasn't.
Also, I'm imagining JP Morgan probably wore a lot of 3-piece vests and pocket watches, which I'm sure is what Bilbo does with his life.
Why Bilbo? Bilbo was absolutely fucking
Purely because
Milton
of
S.
fashion.
He was Milton S. Hershey through and through. That was Bilbo.
And he invented chocolate.
Yeah,
Could be
it's like-
Sam.
Oh, true. Yeah.
The only way
that's
Sam
actually.
Ganges ever would have gotten rich.
Yeah, fair.
Who's Frodo?
Probably the guy that Leonardo DiCaprio plays, I would have to say. One of the janitors down in like
he is
F deck.
just a midget Leonardo DiCaprio. It's not bad. Yeah.
Pretty good shout. All right, where was I?
I like it.
Yeah, okay. Turning back to the supposed feud between Morgan and his rivals, or as we've just learned, Smeagol and Samwise Gamgee and all
Smeagol and
hobbits.
friends.
Yeah, Smeagol and friends. Well, not friends. Smeagol and his rivals. They didn't really oppose the Federal Reserve. And there's no evidence that they had a strong opinion on it at all. So, in fact, contrary to the theories by theorists, there is actually evidence instead that Strauss even supported the idea of the Federal Reserve, as a lot of wealthy people at the time did. This core idea was poured over by experts in the field, like a man named George Benet, who was previously a past vice president of the Titanic Historical Society. George tried to find any evidence that the three men were opposed to the Federal Reserve, but in his 45 years of investigation... Oh, I've got hiccups. But in his 45 years of investigation, he found nothing. In fact, most extremely wealthy individuals at the time supported the idea and helped design the system, the Federal Reserve. This theory has nonetheless naturally evolved over the years to the contemporary version morphing into the theory that JP Morgan was actually a member of the Illuminati, mostly stemming from his influence as a massive American financier and investment banker. He was dominant on Wall Street and had a lot of control over things like railroad, steel, banking, shipping, and insurance, pretty much all industry. He was an elite through and through and had the ability to take out those who opposed the Federal Reserve through shady measures. This last part, which is of wealthy people killing opponents in shady ways, is not necessarily hard to believe, especially at that time period. It probably did happen quite a bit, probably. And it's possibly true. But one would think that the manner through which they chose to kill people wouldn't heavily implicate themselves, destroy their incredibly expensive brand new cruise ships, and also kill hundreds of other people who were ultimately uninvolved in the matter. Regardless of the claims of Morgan's suspicious timing of his illness, it was also quite clear that Morgan truly was unable to go on the Titanic due to poor health, as his deteriorating condition was witnessed by multiple people throughout the years and corroborated heavily by others. And on top of that, if anything, the sinking of the ship completely damaged him and tarnished his reputation and money severely. He also didn't have as much control over the ship.
These are all miscalculations.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It means he just got it all wrong.
Yeah, it's just, again, as is the lesson of this podcast. Hindsight's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. That's what I learned from
Should have gone about it with the Jackson method, hiring an assassin.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, do it yourself, you pussy.
Yeah, there's also that.
He also didn't have as much control over the ship and its operations as people thought, with the idea that this elderly, rich, fat cat who was already actively dying was designing the ship himself to be an active death trap is laughable. I mean, it is. He's like on his deathbed.
That is laughable.
He's designing this like fucking just rickety boat that'll fall apart at the soonest like sign of danger, basically, just to kill 3 people. It's pretty fucking funny.
That was a pretty good description. Laughable's pretty bang on.
I don't know. I much prefer that theory, actually.
We should to be true.
Yeah. Also, the way that he died eventually was pretty fucking, like, it sounded scary. Like, his throat was paralyzed, so he couldn't swallow any food, so he was taking all of his food through food injections. And then he just, he died from weakness, basically.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
So, yeah.
Dying from weakness. His poor esophagus.
I think
kind of know what that's like from being mildly sick sometimes.
Yeah.
I can empathize with you, world's richest man.
I think he had bigger things on his mind as he was actively dying from that kind of stuff than killing 3 people who also may have already supported the thing that he himself supported, Federal Reserve. So I don't know if the motive is quite as clear cut there. Conspiracy 3, the cursed mummy. Next up, Egyptian mummies. That's right, even they're involved in this insidious plot. There is an ancient Egyptian artifact that has the reputation for bringing misfortune. It's called the Unlucky Mummy. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, you have?
Great. And I believe it.
Oh, so you've heard this particular theory as well, not just the artifact itself.
Not this theory about the Titanic, but I have heard theories about mummies bringing bad luck.
Have you heard of this specific mummy, though?
No. Are you happy that you got me to admit that?
Okay, no. I should have asked one less question.
No, you're not happy. It's damaged you as much as it did me.
Yeah, self-inflicted gunshot there through both of us. It's not actually a mummy, but an inner coffin lid that has been painted. Found in Thebes, it is dated to be around from the 21st or early 22nd dynasty, which was between 950 and 900 BC before Christ. It is believed that the depiction is of a woman and that this woman was of high-ranking status, though the identity is unknown, but it is known that she hated cruise ships. The prevailing theory is that... What would a cruise ship have been back in ancient Egypt? Just like a straw boat, a slightly larger straw boat that could fit 4 people?
I think so. I know that in ancient Rome they had cruises. Maybe they did in Egypt. I get the idea from somewhere.
I doubt it. I don't think, even with like Roman influence or anything like that, I don't think that they would have had it in Egypt. They had cruises in ancient Rome.
Yeah, they had cruises in ancient Rome. In fact, that's how I think it was Emperor Hadrian. I think that's how he died. And it might have even been in Egypt.
What do you mean?
And I think that he was having sex with one of his male slaves and fell into the ocean, fell into the river, and a crocodile ate him. I think that's what happened to him.
All right, well, this is getting very detailed.
No. Maybe it was just an erotic romance novel I was reading. I don't really remember.
BookTup's hottest new hit. Hadrian on the Nile.
Yeah, go on.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So cruise ships in ancient Rome, do you mean like just wealthy people using ships to get from destination A to B, or like cruise ships in the way that we think of them now, where it's just like going from port A, circling around in the ocean a little bit, and then returning to port A?
No, I don't think that it was that same thing that you go on there and you play craps and there'd be a comedian.
No, I'm not saying a casino. I'm just saying, did they go out there just to come back to where they came from, or was it just a travel thing?
From memory. Oh, does this really count? It's kind of like, no, all right. I would say that it's closer to a yacht today, a luxury yacht where you have a bunch of people that go on it and then you go around on a little adventure and you come back. Probably a cruise ship.
Pretty close. That's pretty close to what I would.
It's close. It's close.
Say a cruise ship would do, yeah. Like the leisure.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is the leisure part
sort of like a timeshare version of that.
What I'm saying is it's more leisure orientated than just being like transit orientated. Like you often think of like boats at that time either being industrial in terms of, fishing, or just transitory in that they need to get to a certain place and that's the quickest route is through shipping themselves over, basically. But if it's literally just they go out and hang around in the ocean just to vibe on a boat, then yeah, that's like more leisure orientated, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think human beings have always had the ornate need to do something entirely useless and waste a bunch of resources doing it.
Not me. I do not understand cruises.
No.
I
want to go on one so I can assume that I don't understand what they're about. I am not sure if I'd like one or not. I think that they get a bad rap.
It's just, why would you choose to do that when you can travel and go around to many different places? Like with the ocean, you're stuck. With cruising on the ocean, you're just stuck in a cruise ship. The same 4 walls.
They don't all go out to the ocean and then come back at the same port, right? Like a lot of them go from port to port.
Yeah, but most of the trip is still just sailing.
Is it just because you're seasick and you're trying to sound cool about being seasick?
I like I like
Not
I
at
like
all.
the ocean. No, I'm real cool. I'm real cool. I
You
swear.
like the ocean?
Yeah, no, I like the ocean. I like boating. I like diving and snorkeling and shit like that. But just
Oh yeah, fan of all of it.
cruising for leisure is not
For the
interesting
sake
to
of
me.
cruising, it's strange.
In fact, if it was a cruising trip and I could just dive and snorkel every single day, I'd be down for that. But I don't think you can out in the deep ocean.
Yes, unless it was extremely rich and then you had access to one of those deep sea submarines, and I'd be down for that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
given their track record, that kind of is
No.
the closest thing to the Titanic these days, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not down for that. That'll be
Okay, fair
you
enough.
on your own. That one.
More
Okay, so
room for me.
back to the
Yeah.
cursed mummy. It is believed, I've read that, the prevailing theory is that she was a priestess of the powerful sun god Amun-Ra. I thought it was Amun, like A-M-U-N. It's spelled Amen here. I'm pretty sure it's A-M-U-N, isn't it?
Really, I don't know because I've always heard it said a lot quicker. Armin, which could be either.
Yeah, it is.
Whatever. The
UN.
point is, he was very important and powerful and real.
Yeah, Amun-Ra, this artifact is now sitting in the British Museum. The unlucky mummy was believed to be cursed from the very beginning. A group of young British men traveled to Egypt. The timeline of the trip itself is blurry. Articles ranging place it between 1860s and the 1890s. Regardless, while they were there, they were shown the newly excavated unlucky mummy. Enamored with it, they purchased the artifact and began to pack it up for the trip back. Before they left, one of the men went duck hunting up the Nile, but his gun exploded and he severely injured his right arm. His urgent rush back to Cairo was interrupted by strangely powerful and heavy winds, supernatural winds. And by the time he made it back, he had developed gangrene and his arm needed to be fully amputated. Finally, he somewhat
Sucked
recovered.
in. That is unlucky.
Finally, he somewhat recovered from the injury. Somewhat recovered doing a lot of the heavy work there, considering I don't think you can grow back an arm. I don't think you can recover from that. Regardless, he somewhat recovered from the injury, and he and his friends decided that it was time to head back home. Before they left, however, news reached them that the man who had discovered and excavated the unlucky mummy had himself seemingly just died, or at the very least had disappeared into the desert, and he was never seen again. The men still, even with these warnings, basically, still took the unlucky mummy back with them to England, but the misfortune wasn't over yet. Two of the men died at sea. The man who had now only had one arm made it back, but now the magnificent artifact radiated evil energy that he felt settled around his house. Apparently, a Russian occultist came to visit the unlucky mummy and said, quote, "There is no such thing as exorcism. Evil remains forever. Nothing can be done about it. I implore you to get rid of this evil as soon as possible," end quote. Ill fate continued to plague those who neared the artifact, which is believed by many to be the reason why the Titanic faced its cruel fate. The theory goes that the unlucky mummy was brought onto the Titanic either by wealthy passengers or by the British Museum itself, who had sent her off in a desperate attempt to get her evil energy out of their space. In their desperate effort, they had sold it to an American collector. The unlucky mummy was said to have been in the cargo hold, and it had caused the Titanic to hit the iceberg and sink. This theory mainly stems from the account of a man by the name of W.T. Stead, who was a passenger on the Titanic. During his time on the Titanic, Stead would entertain other passengers with the tale of the unlucky mummy, often for hours on end. Unfortunately, though, Stead died on the ship, but a survivor by the name of Frederick Kimber Seward, mentioned Steed and his stories. Over time, this story morphed into belief that the unlucky mummy was on board the ship, even though it's pretty abundantly clear that this wasn't the case, and that the idea stemmed entirely from this one man telling the story so frequently during the trip that it itself became notable. Case in point, if the unlucky mummy was on the Titanic, how is it still to this day in the British Museum? Very strange. It must have sunk and hit a time rift anomaly and teleported right back to the British Museum. It would have most likely dropped to the bottom of the...
That would explain it.
That would explain it, yes. That thing that I just made up. An invisible eagle swooped down and picked it up before it could fully sink and transported it back.
It is many explanations to that.
Yeah, I can keep...
and there's no counter-argument to any of them either. Point one, Jackson. Now officially a cooler name than Jack because of that.
Because of my raw creativity.
Oh, because of your raw facts.
Yeah, facts can be creative.
Creativity is for pansies. X are for based chads.
Facts, Chad.
Chads. Fat Jackson. Notorious fact Chad.
It's like the meanest thing that's ever been said about me.
It's quite slack, isn't it? I don't know why.
Believers in the theory that a bribe was made to stow the mummy in one of the lifeboats later rescued along with survivors on the raft where it ended up in America. The new American owner quickly noticed the foul energy the artifact brought and sent it back to England. So that's how people actually rationalize it. It was a vital lifeboat seat was taken up by this mummy. Imagine being the poor person on the boat on the sinking Titanic and be like, "Can I just get in there? Can I just get in the lifeboat, please?" And there's just a fucking mummy sitting in your seat.
This passenger has already died once. You take your turn.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's so fucked up. So ridiculous.
It's pretty fucked, isn't it? Good thing that didn't probably happen.
Yeah.
It'd be very mean if that was the facts.
They also theorized that the unlucky mummy was supposed to travel back on the Empress of Ireland, a ship that collided with a coal ship and sank in 1914. This unlucky mummy really just wants to drown. However, it ended up on it ended up on the Lusitania, which we've talked about already, which was torpedoed by a German submarine in 1950, so it sunk again. Some also think that the cursed mummy went down with the Lusitania. The unlucky mummy, however, is currently at the British Museum still. You can go see it right now, and it hasn't appeared to move in such a manner throughout its time at the museum, so unless it is a fake or a replica, that debunks this theory. I actually did read that it moved in 1990 for a temporary exhibit in Australia, so that's the only time it's ever moved.
The Titanic was constructed in Belfast by a company named Harland and Wolff, apparently before the Titanic ever left for its voyage. Catholic workers were horrified in shock over hull numbers of the ship, which read 390904. I didn't know that they were into numerology, but there you go. When this number is flipped, it looks like the words "No Pope." No, it doesn't.
I mean, it does.
Be really creative with the letter N, don't you?
Yeah, the N, maybe. I mean, if you like look sideways, it looks like an N. Like tilt your head to the left a little bit. That's an N.
Yeah. Okay.
No Pope.
It's a 5-year-old trying to make it in for the first time, and the rest of it makes sense. It does. Yeah. Okay. If you replace 4 with N, God, this is lamer than the dead mummy.
No, this is so much
cooler. How did I have to take this one?
This is so much cooler.
And isn't that incredible? As soon as you went into the mummy one, you started getting hiccups and we got lag.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's real.
We're being haunted by either the mummy or
even we're mentioning it now and it goes back to lag.
Is it lagging again?
It was for me. I'm not making that up for dramatic effect, although if I was smart, I would have.
All right, just continue.
The theory was... Okay. The theory was then generated that the Titanic was struck down by holy powers for its infernal blasphemy. The iceberg, the Herald of Frost, was sent to deliver justice on behalf of higher powers, because that's how justice should be. Ice cold. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's just a fact. Immediately, however, it should be ice cold. We have holes in this theory.
No.
Record showed that the Titanic's number was not 390904, and instead it was the number 131428. Okay, so it's not even close.
It's just completely
By the Board of Trade and...
What does 131428 spell backwards?
No. Is that the number for Lubemobile? No, 133032. Okay, so it has no significance at all.
No, it has no significance.
God, it makes a lot of sense why this is 1.5 paragraphs long. Those who looked into the company also learned that most of the workers weren't Catholic. All right.
So everything about the story is wrong.
It's a paragraph to explain and a sentence to unfurl. And they were instead prominently Protestant. It should be noted, of course, that Protestants reject the Pope's authority. Oh, what a closer.
All right.
Why did we even talk about that? There was no point.
Because it's good. It's such a good theory. All right, we're gonna go to members' questions right now because we're short on time. So you can sign up over at official.men for a free 7-day trial to ad-free early access Red Thread episodes. It keeps the lights on. It really does help out, and also just share the show to people that you might like, that you might think would like the show. That of course helps. Send it to your parents. Send it to your siblings. Send it to your local pirates.
Any parents would like this.
Anyone that you know,
grandparents that are alive for this. Yep.
Any pirates, please send it to them. They'd get a kick out of this one.
Pirates.
Send it to anyone you know.
First on the order. Yep.
And leave us comments and like and subscribe, all of that shit. It really does help out. And if you are like a super fan of the show and you really do like it and you want early access and you want to leave us questions, you can do so over at official.men for a free 7-day trial. Really do appreciate you members. You guys are fucking awesome. Really cool people over there. We're going to read through some questions right now. And answer them as sincerely as we can. First one comes from Paddy. He asks, did JP Morgan threaten to assassinate Captain Edward Smith's family to force him to crash the Titanic? Or maybe he got a crew member to hijack the boat? I mean, yeah. I mean, the entire idea that JP Morgan orchestrated this hinges on the fact that the ship still needed to eventually hit the iceberg, which means that whoever was captaining the ship, so Edward Smith, needed to do that on purpose. Like someone had to be there to actually steer it into something on purpose. So how would he have done that, Jordan? Since he wasn't on the ship.
Hiring someone, magic, getting the mummy on there deliberately and knowing that it would mysteriously disappear back into the British Museum without anyone noticing. There's a lot of ways of doing it.
It's the perfect crime. Anything with the unlucky mummy, it solves itself.
So to answer your question, that's one way of doing it, yes. But really, you've got to think further and you've got to think harder in the future, Paddy.
Yeah, you got to think.
Frankly, I'm ashamed of you.
Silent X Knight asks, between the ship full of pompous assholes, that was a bit mean, and the iceberg minding its own business, who's the real victim?
I do very much like any question is always posed with, who's the real monster?
Yeah,
who's the real victim? It's perfect, isn't it? It really helps.
I don't know if the iceberg was even...
Makes you reframe.
Was the iceberg hurt in the collision? I don't think so, right? Icebergs are pretty fucking big.
At all. Inflicted no damage at all.
Yeah.
Right, I'm just going to Google that right now and see what comes up. I'd very much like to see what AI says about this.
In fact...
Was the iceberg harmed when the Titanic...
I mean, I guess you could argue that the iceberg was taking revenge for like global warming and shit from these ships, probably. So
I cannot believe that there is articles on this. Yes, the Titanic's collision with the iceberg caused damage to it.
Aww.
The iceberg eventually broke into smaller pieces and melted into the ocean.
No!
Oh man, it's a Frosty the Snowman story.
No! It died. That actually is the greatest tragedy of this event. No! They killed it. He was just minding his own business, chilling, literally chilling.
Tragic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they, silly question.
It's the tragedy of the Greek sense, how nobody gets off scot-free.
Silly question, but is the iceberg counted towards the victim count? Because if not, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it is a silly question because of course it is.
Yeah, it better be. There better be a monument.
As we all know, icebergs are sentient creatures.
It's sad.
That'd be so hilarious if somebody did that. Spent huge amounts of taxpayer money to make a monument of the iceberg that sunk the Titanic. Is to commemorate this inanimate object that was minding its own business.
Well, I don't think you can say that it did it maliciously, so I don't think you can apply fault to the iceberg. It's just as much a victim of the situation as the people on the ship.
As Silent Night posed, who's the real victim? I think we've answered that.
Clogged Toilet asks, Jackson, would you let Jordan paint you naked? And why would the answer be yes? Well, the answer would be yes. Because Jordan, I feel like, would be the only person capable of bringing my peculiarities to light. That made it sound like I have a weird penis or something. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant my character. He'd be the only one that would know me well enough to be able to paint me as accurately as possible.
It's not just about the nudity. That's what you have to understand. I'd make it tasteful.
No, you would be able to. You'd be able to paint beyond my penis. You'd be able to paint my soul.
Yeah. I'd make your penis a metaphor for your soul, which is ironically just your penis. And I'd make it huge as well, just to make sure that I get another job.
Also, I feel like I would let him paint me naked, because if I didn't, then he'd make me paint him naked, and I would prefer to be the painted instead of the painter.
Well, I assumed that was going to be the payment, but yes, okay. Now that we're all on the same page.
All right, this is a tour. The two people asked this question, so I put them together into one question. Aaron Plant and Grumar asked, if you were aboard the Titanic, how would you survive? Or would you sacrifice yourself for someone else? Would either of you jump in and steal a seat from a woman/child if you were in that situation?
Oh, easily. They're so weak.
If so, would you go the extra mile and actively push a woman/baby overboard to take her seat?
If no one was looking.
I would.
I want to maintain the title of gentleman if I can, but if I can't, I'm getting scrappy.
It's every man for themselves on the Titanic. I would try to take it from a man at first, but I don't think that would go over very well. So eventually, my eyes would wander elsewhere in terms of survivability. No, I don't know. It's so hard to decide what I would do in that situation. I don't want to die.
Yes, those questions always make you like you always say, yeah, of course, but you don't actually know.
You don't know until you're in the situation.
You don't know what you got to do until you're there.
It's so easy to sit here.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you're the only one that's confident in his answer. It sounds like. In my situation, it's so easy to sit here and be like, no, I would bow to the women as they pass me, and I would, clean the seat first before they sit down, as I then depart the lifeboat to my sinking vessel and my ill fate. I would salute them as they escape. But I don't know. You don't know until you're in that situation. I don't know, but I guess I would be able to rationalize it in the moment. Perhaps convince myself that help is coming, and it is more important to get them off the boat first. Like, we're all going to be safe anyway because help will show up. I'd probably be able to trick myself into that belief.
Oh yeah, you reckon you could do that?
Maybe, yeah. Or maybe I'd be able to convince myself that it's not too cold down there in the water, and it's actually going to be a pleasant swim.
Yes,
pleasant swim.
Children are more buoyant.
No, I meant for myself. Of course, you took it in the direction of actually the babies love cold water. No.
It's an ice bath. I don't know if you could, man. Look, all I say is, like, you ever hear the story about the band that just kept playing while it sunk?
Yeah, I doubt it.
That's classy.
I doubt that.
Yeah, you're right.
I doubt it. It was a record
me too.
Playing. There's no.
Oh, okay. You think that they had iPods back then and they put it into the speakers?
Well, is that really that classy? Like, I don't think. I mean, I guess it's classy, but is it classy to say that the janitor was still doing his janitorial duties while the ship was sinking? It's like the same concept.
No.
Why not?
They're
both doing the same jobs. I mean, not the same jobs, but they're still fulfilling their duties. Why is one classy,
it's
but one's
pretty
not?
hard to... Because it's pretty hard to use the word classy and cleaning toilets in the same sentence, isn't it?
Right, here's a good question.
Be, but it is.
Let's say you were getting down in your presidential suite on the Titanic. You've been looking forward to this all day. You're banging in the sheets, and then the ship starts to sink. Do you finish?
I mean, obviously, I would imagine that my comely mistress would probably run out shrieking, and I'd be like, "That's all right. I'm used to finishing myself off." But yeah, I'd have to. You'd have to. Not going into the ocean with blue balls, are you?
Yeah. Oh man, that would suck.
Can't.
I'm imagining like I would have the worst luck in those situations. Like we're visiting Japan soon. Both of us are visiting Japan soon, and I feel like I would have the worst luck with like an earthquake or like a tsunami or something if I had to evacuate the hotel. Since as we've determined in previous episodes, I sleep and shit naked. I feel like that's going to happen at the worst time, and I'm probably going to be not clothed, and I'm going to have to rush out of the hotel naked or something like that. Like you don't have time to put on clothes, do you, during an earthquake?
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if that happens, first off, if you're having sex during an earthquake, that'd definitely help you finish because that's just a built-in natural vibrator. But second, if you are out naked, I am absolutely taking a photo of that and painting it. That is going to happen.
That's how I'll be remembered.
Hilarious.
That's how I'll be remembered. It's what he would have wanted. He wouldn't have wanted his last moments.
And even if it's not what he wanted, it's definitely what I'd want.
That would be such a cool photo, though.
So fucking funny.
Like destruction everywhere. Destruction everywhere, like rubble and fire everywhere, but me just in the streets naked.
Yeah, I think I'd call it like the Scream Raw. It's so good. It would be a classic photo immediately.
All right,
Screaming Jackson.
Yeah, it'll be on the Time magazine, the front of Time magazine. It's gonna be so good.
What, you think you're gonna be Person of the Year because you were naked during an earthquake?
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be emblematic of the disaster. Everyone's gonna look back at it. C Peterson asked, how did you feel about cruises before this episode? Have your feelings towards them changed? I mean,
we've already covered that, haven't we?
Yeah, we've covered it, and it also hasn't changed really. Like it didn't. Well, it definitely didn't make me want to go on a cruise.
You still hate him.
Well, I mean, this wasn't exactly a glowing advertisement for cruises, and it also happened so long ago. It happened so long ago where it doesn't really like make me not want to go on a cruise more either. Like I'm pretty sure cruises are pretty safe in this day and age, but regardless, like yeah, I would choose to do way more different things than go on a cruise before I would choose a cruise. Like it's probably pretty low on my choice of leisure activity. AT Singe asks, how do you think evacuation of a boat like that nowadays would be executed? Would it be different from women and children first, you think? I mean,
I think they've still got that rule.
Do they?
Probably.
Well, that's nice. I would imagine that it's like a hierarchy of a bunch of different labels now, probably. Ascending in priority.
What, do you think that the... Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Dude, that's hilarious. Okay, actually, because political correctness has gone mad, they no longer have that as the standard legal or official policy. And it's very funny going back in time and noticing that men have a much higher survival rate than women and children's ships, which means that, when push comes to shove, you literally push and shove.
Wait. So it's been changed. That idea has changed since that time.
That's changed.
Why? That's so fucked up. Like even if it's not enforced or followed, like it is a pretty good symbol of society if the idea that women and children should be preserved first and foremost. Like I feel like that is. Why is that bad? Why is it a bad idea?
No.
Why has it been changed?
It doesn't say. It just says that the priority is for the crew to get the passengers off. And that's it. That's all it is.
Oh, I guess from like a crew procedure standpoint, it probably makes more logistical sense just to try to get as many people off as possible instead of lining everyone up by gender and age and then determining. But like, I don't know. It's just like the principle.
You're a younger child. You're kind of a young adult. Yeah, it's strange.
I feel like the principle of it still, though, in like in a society that should be the ideal kind of policy, more or less. Like if you do eventually get everyone off, and then the decision comes down to like a man, a woman, or a child, there's like 3 people left and there's only 1 seat left, then you got to give it to the child. Like, I don't understand why that idea is now toxic or would be toxic.
That's strange.
I don't know.
What about disabled people? Where are they? Or is it just like, it's too hard? They just go down with their little wheelchairs.
Well, maybe that's why it changed. Maybe maybe there is just too many different factors now to consider. It's just too difficult.
Too many, as you said.
Someone's going to be offended. It's like, fuck it. Just go wild.
It's really strange that Fox News got control of maritime law. I'll tell you what, though. I'm pretty happy about it.
Hey, yeah, we're back in contention. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah. Jordan won't feel quite so bad for elbowing that child overboard now. It's like, Jordan, there's enough seats.
Not that I ever would have felt that bad to begin with.
There's enough seats, Jordan. Everyone could have survived. There was no need for that.
Just to be safe.
I want to stretch out. All right, that's going to do it for this episode.
Would that be a great thing to say after pushing a child out? I want to stretch out. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Head on over to Friendly Geordie's. He's got live shows going on, as well as self-help seminars. He's actually going to do a self-help seminar in the next hour. So, hey.
Right now.
Yeah, this episode will be out a week later, but a week ago, Jordan was doing a self-help seminar 20 minutes after this. How cool was that? You can go buy tickets. They're linked below. Other than that, please do share the show. Really helps us out a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a fun episode this week. We'll be back with some heavy-hitting topics in the future. Some more heavy-hitting topics. Got some interesting episodes coming up. You're going to want to stick around. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye.